There's a quiet disappointment millions of people endorse, but hardly say out loud. Now, you have goals, you work hard, you know you are capable of more, yet somehow years pass, and life looks almost the same. Meanwhile, someone else, maybe from the same background, the same city, the same starting point, suddenly begins to rise. They build confidence, they seize opportunities, they build momentum, and the question starts to grow louder in your mind. What do they understand that I don't? Here is the truth most people miss. The difference between people who grow and people who remain stuck is hardly intelligence and almost never luck. It's something far more subtle. It's the habits they protect, the mindset they build, and the daily decisions they refuse to compromise on. Once you see these patterns clearly, something powerful happens. You stop wondering while others move forward, and you start realizing you can move forward too. What you need to understand is the mindset shifts behind why a small minority advances in life. Alright, now, first, before anything else, you need to understand the one mindset shift that changes everything, and it's something that most people avoid. Number one, people who grow accept responsibility. Every person who breaks through eventually reaches the same uncomfortable realization, and it's simple. No one is coming to fix your life for you. That moment of realization separates two identities. The first identity is the blamer. This person constantly explains why things aren't working. They talk about the economy, their upbringing, their circumstances, other people, and why many of those challenges are real. Blaming them keeps you powerless. The second identity is the builder. Builders think differently. They ask a different question. Given my situation, what can I control? That question shifts everything. Because the moment you focus on what you can control, you regain power. You stop waiting for better conditions. You start creating better habits. But responsibility alone doesn't create progress. There's another trait that separates those who move forward from those who remain trapped in cycles. And it shows up every single morning. Number two, people who grow choose discipline over feelings. There's one mistake people make with their lives. They organize their lives around motivation. Now, most people work only when they feel inspired. If they feel tired, they wait. If they feel uncertain, they pause. But feelings are unpredictable. Some days you feel unstoppable. Some days you feel exhausted. If your progress depends on feelings, your life will move in circles. People who grow adopt a different identity. They become disciplined individuals. Discipline means doing the work even when the mood isn't right. Studying when you rather scroll. Practicing when you rather rest. Working on your goals when no one is watching. But here's the thing. The future is built in quiet moments of discipline. But discipline alone isn't enough. There is a barrier that stops many disciplined people before they ever reach their full potential. And that barrier is something nearly everyone tries to avoid. Number three, people who grow build a high tolerance for discomfort. The truth is, growth hardly feels good in the beginning, and discomfort is one of the main reasons most folks freak out in their quest to break through in the turbulent sea of life struggles. Learning feels awkward, failure feels embarrassing, trying something new feels uncertain. Most people interpret these feelings as signs to stop, but people who grow interpret them differently. It's an opportunity for them. They see discomfort as evidence that progress is happening. Think about it. Every skill you admired once felt uncomfortable to learn. Every confident person was once unsure. Every successful person once struggled. The difference is not talent. The difference is how long someone is willing to stay uncomfortable while learning. The longer you stay in the learning zone, the stronger you become. But there is another factor quietly shaping your future every day, whether you realize it or not. And it might be the most powerful one of all. Number four, people who grow treat time like a precious resource. Given the chance to choose what they see as their biggest limitation, most people think it's opportunity. In reality, your biggest limitation is often attention. Because most times, it's just too hard to accept that hours have disappeared scrolling through content. Days have disappeared while postponing difficult work. Weeks disappear waiting for the right moment. The problem is subtle, and yet, for most people, time lost today doesn't feel serious. But repeated over months and years, it quietly shapes your future. Apparently, this whole time thing is much more powerful than many people are willing to admit. But people who grow develop a different awareness. They understand that time is life in measurable form. Every hour invested builds skill. Every hour distracted delays growth. So they protect their focus. Not perfectly, no one does, but consistently. And this consistency slowly builds something powerful: momentum. Once momentum begins, progress starts to compound. But one final mindset determines whether that momentum continues or collapses the moment difficulty appears. Number five, people who grow redefine failure. Well, I'm not sharing this shift to encourage a failure mindset. Anyway, achievers choose their own mindset. You don't tell winners to accept failure, they get to learn from it. I'm sharing this insight because increasingly, as the world gets more complex, wannabe achievers see failure as a verdict, a signal that they're not capable. So they avoid situations where failure might happen. But the people who break through redefine failure entirely. To them, failure is information. It shows what doesn't work. It exposes weak strategies. It teaches lessons that success never could. This shift transforms the way they approach life. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask something far more important: "What happens if I never try?" But you're responsible for your choices. And if I've learned anything worthwhile over my long span in life, is that the second question initiates courage. And courage pushes you to try. And each trial eventually creates progress. Now, when you step back and watch, the difference between growth and stagnation becomes clearer. I know there is much to be learned from people who grow. They take responsibility for their direction. They act with discipline, even when motivation fades. They stay uncomfortable long enough to improve. They protect their time and attention. They treat failure as feedback, not identity. None of these traits require special talent. In fact, they require a decision about who you choose to become. And that decision happens in small moments every day. Moments when you could delay, but choose action. Moments when you could quit, but choose persistence. Moments when you could remain comfortable, but choose growth. Those moments may feel small, but they are shaping your future right now. So if you ever feel like life is moving forward for everyone else except you, remember this: people don't suddenly rise. They quietly build themselves when no one is paying attention, day by day, choice by choice, habit by habit, and eventually the world notices what they have been becoming all along. The good news is this: that process is available to anyone, including you. The only real question is, what kind of person will your daily choices turn you into? So stay awake, my friends. There will always be opportunities, and there will always be those who are prepared to take advantage of them. The question is, will you be one of them? Peace.